Welcome on into the Rock and Refuel Recruiting Roundup. Jason Jewell, Jordan Ham going over everything recruiting related in the state of Arizona. And Jason, it's been very busy in Chandler, both the Wolves and the Huskies getting commitments. Let's start with a Hamilton Husky making a commitment.
Yeah, so Hunter McGinnis, the offensive lineman, becomes the first in-state and first offensive line commitment for Arizona State. And he's a guy that, this is no surprise. You look at his other offer, it only comes from Idaho, that is what is surprising to me, that this is a guy that's 6'5", 320 pounds, and only has 2 scholarship offers, Arizona State and Idaho. Obviously picks the Sun Devils. He's a guy who's played right tackle, and his film is very good. He's a mauler. I think he's going to end up being a guard at the next level, but I just like how he's transitioned his body between his junior and his senior year, and I think this is a solid get for ASU.
Now just down the road across Arizona Avenue, the Chandler Wolves, 2 commitments. We'll start with Gunnar Romney. I saw him at the opening just a few weeks ago. He really opened some eyes against the nation's best. But what are the BYU Cougars getting in the commitment of Gunnar Romney?
Yeah, so he had told you, right, that he was down to BYU and Utah, and BYU gets the, in that rivalry recruiting, lands a very solid prospect. He's a guy that I think is, one, he's very underrated in the speed aspect, where he's a guy, has deceptive speed. Is he a blazer? No, he's not. But is he slow? Heck no. He's a very good wide receiver, and he has all the things, all the little things right. He'll go across the middle. He'll make the tough catches. He's long, and he has a frame where he's going to gain some more weight. He's a willing blocker. He's a guy that when I watched his sophomore film when he was playing in El Paso, that I really liked that film as well. A heavily recruited guy. I think this is a great, this is a steal, actually, I think, for BYU.
Now, one of his teammates, Jarrett Caldwell, also makes a commitment to UNLV, the third Rebel commit from the Chandler Wolves. What are they getting in terms of his transition from potentially being a wide receiver now to a tight end?
He's just a guy that creates matchup problems on offense. He's a hybrid wide receiver, tight end, H-back. You know, he's 6'3", over 200 pounds, getting close to actually 220 pounds last time I talked to Coach Aguano, and he picks UNLV over big offers like Fresno, and he had New Mexico State and other offers of that nature. But again, with spread offensives now, what guys are doing, you know, he's a personnel buster. He's able to come out and do a lot of things and show some versatility. Again, another good get for UNLV because Bryce Jackson, his teammate, and Chris Manoa both pledged to the Rebels last month.
Now to the offers, we're going to shift gears to the quarterback throwing the ball to Romney, to Caldwell. Jacob Conover having a very busy week. He had a great sophomore year, 32 touchdowns, just 5 interceptions. Who offered Conover?
So he goes out and he throws for Nick Saban at Alabama and ends up getting a scholarship offer. He goes and takes an unofficial visit over to Memphis and gets an offer from former ASU offensive coordinator Mike Norvell over there. And he's a guy, like you mentioned, makes smart decisions. He was unknown last year, wasn't even going to be the starting quarterback at Chandler, and what a breakout performance he had. Talking to Coach Aguano, some of the schools are kind of been scared because of the height. It didn't scare Alabama away, you know, that he's only a little bit over 6 foot tall in a spread offense. Now you don't need to be 6'5" anymore. If you're above 6 foot, you're going to be fine. He can sling the ball all over the field, and these are just the first of a few offers that Conover is going to get, because only a junior and going to be a national level recruit now with this Alabama offer, I think, opening some doors.
Arizona State picked up their first commitment from the 2018 class, but also focusing on the 2019 class from a very good athlete from Deer Valley.
Yeah, Deer Valley, like you mentioned, athlete Des Melton is a perfect way to describe him. He started off last season playing wide receiver, moved to running back, and rushed for over 1,000 yards last year in just 5 games playing that position. 6'4", 220 pounds, also a track athlete, has offers from Arizona and from Iowa State right now. ASU becomes the third, a guy that I think is a top 10 level prospect in the state of Arizona for next year.
Dominique Hampton over at Centennial, having maybe an under-the-radar recruitment, not much buzz around him, but he has the offers to back up his play. Just released his top 5. He adds another Pac-12 program to that.
Yes, like you mentioned, he had named a top 5, which is Arizona, Arizona State, Oregon State, Washington, and Colorado. And then right after he releases that top 5, then Oregon comes in and offers. And I think now he has a top 6, but he's a big, long corner, so it doesn't surprise me that he's getting recruited, you know, like he is. He's run sub 11 seconds in the 100 meters, and guys like that, length with speed, are heavily recruited players.
And keeping it with Centennial, a first offer for for a linebacker. If you know anything about Centennial, they can pump out the linebackers.
So one of the more intriguing and underrated prospects in the state over at Centennial, Jacob Franklin. He's a guy that's played linebacker, played some defensive end. He was injured all of his junior season, hurt his thumb and had surgery, came back and played a little bit at the very end of the season, in the playoffs, but he's a 6'3", 215-pound athlete that runs a 4.6, goes out to camp, hit an Ivy League tour of Yale and Columbia. He walks away with a Columbia offer, first offer for him.
And finally, Zach Wilson over at Saguaro. He led the SaberCats in touchdown receptions last year with 6. I think if he's on any other receiving core other than the SaberCats and maybe the Chandler Wolves, his numbers are much higher. This is a team that had 12 guys catch receiving touchdowns last year. He picks up 2 offers.
Yeah, so he adds Air Force and Dartmouth, and he is quickly approaching double-digit scholarship offers, mostly from that Ivy League and Academy level, but he also has an offer from UNLV as a safety, which goes to show what kind of athlete he is.
Great stuff from Jason, as always. This is the Rock and Refuel Recruiting Roundup on Sports 360 AZ.